Hello, everyone. I want to talk to you guys about really how the world is gearing towards a conflict and chaos, really. And I think that one of the things that demonstrates this reality is the development of the Future Combat Air System, or the FCAS. And this is a European air combat system. And uh, it's said that it will consist of swarming drones and also a sixth generation fighter jet. And this is probably the thing or the aspect of the FCAS that really distinguishes it. The fact that it's going to have this sixth generation fighter jet that is going to showcase European independence from American military technology. The fact that the Germans, the French, are pursuing more of a European independence from America's global control. And this is really the thing that indicates that the world is gearing towards a conflict. The fact that the Europeans can no longer, or really don't show or express any sort of trust in America's global security reliability. And the fact that you have this feeling that's lingering about in the air really does show us that the world is no longer as secure as it used to be. Just recently, the defense minister of Germany made a trip to Spain to meet with his Spanish and French counterparts to discuss the progress of the FCAS. And the defense minister of Germany, Mr. Boris Pistorius, this is what he had to say. In regards to the FCAS, he said, quote, "We show that as Europeans we want to become more capable of acting and more sovereign, and that we need a strong European armaments industry for this, but also the will to cooperate across nations." So the Germans are working to become more and more independent from America's technological and global security control, global security umbrella. And this really showcases Germany's willingness and determination to become militarily autonomous is a word that's being thrown around, but I believe that they want to become fully independent from America's technological leverage, America's technological grip over the world. And we're seeing this not just in Germany, but we're seeing this in numerous other powerhouse countries. For example, the Chinese said that by the year 2027, the Chinese military will be fully mechanized. The Japanese recently stated that by the year 2027, their defense budget will be at around $330 billion. And the Turks are also developing their own aircraft fighter, and they're saying that testing for this Turkish aircraft fighter will be completed by the year, you guessed it, 2027. And in regards to the FCAS, the Future Combat Air System, they're saying that the Future Combat Air System will be demonstrated, or will have a demonstration, by the year 2027, and by the decade of the 40s, the FCAS will replace the air combat systems of France, Germany, and Spain. So there's something to be said about the year 2027. I think it's very obvious that these countries like Turkey, China, Japan, Germany, they see the year 2027 as the year in which uh, really we will know who is going to be a major power, who is going to have a major military capability. And I think that by the year 2027, we're going to see which countries are going to really run their own power blocks. The CIA actually talked about this a number of years ago, how the world is going to be broken up into various blocks. Um, Germany will run the European bloc. Turkey is going to run the Islamic bloc, or really the Sunni Muslim bloc. The Iranians are going to be a major player. leading the world of Shia Islam. Japan is going to be a huge, huge power in East Asia. And Japan and China, of course, are going to be competing over Asia. They're already doing it in some way, but I think that as the decade goes by, this vying over power between Japan and China is going to be much more in your face. And I think eventually it's just going to erupt into a full blown conflict. In fact, the United States government stated recently that it predicts that by the year 2027, China is going to try to invade Taiwan. Now, that may not happen by that point, but the fact that the United States believes that this is going to happen by the year 2027 really goes to show the significance of that year for making predictions in the geopolitical realm. And it's not just defense industries and militaries that are very active. We're also seeing chaos simmering and chaos just brewing in the world. We are seeing these horrendous riots taking place in France. There was a huge series of demonstrations and riots that took place in France. I think they're still going on. Over 1 million or so people demonstrated and rioted. I think it may have been more than that, actually. I can look it up real quick. Yeah, according to the Unionists in France, 2.3 million people took to the streets in France. That is huge. Over 100 police officers were attacked and injured. Uh, and I've seen the videos. I mean, you see a little firebomb going off in the middle of a column of police officers, riot police officers, and you see this poor officer being set on fire, and the crowd of demonstrators are cheering this on. This is not some movement of peaceful people. These are violent, vicious people who are truly continuing on the legacy of the French Revolution, which is so embedded in the psyche, the collective psyche, the collective soul of the French nation. And I would not be surprised to see in the future French revolutionaries holding up the heads of their politicians or maybe even their bankers. History does rhyme. It really does rhyme. And then we're seeing all of these demonstrations taking place in Israel. Yesterday, it was reported that tens of thousands of people in Israel gathered together to protest against Benjamin Netanyahu. I would not be surprised to see one day a civil war break out in Israel. It wouldn't be the first time. There have been numerous civil wars in Israel's history. The most latest one took place 30 something years after the crucifixion of Jesus, and it was absolutely horrendous. They call it the Roman Jewish War, but really, for the most part, it was a Jewish civil war between the Zealots and the temple establishment, and so many people were killed. There were just countless bodies and an ocean of blood that was made in that conflict. And it wouldn't surprise me, wouldn't shock me at all to see the same thing happening yet again in Israel. And let's not forget, Israel's not like other countries where most people don't own guns. In Israel, almost everyone owns guns because everyone has served in the military, because military enlistment is obligatory for all of Israel's citizens. So they all have guns. Everybody has some sort of military training, or at least most people do. So the whole country, if there is serious political turbulence, the whole country would be like a room full of gasoline. All that it would take to have a violent conflagration is for someone just to make a spark of provocation, and you could have blood in the streets. So it's very scary to see the route that the world is going to. We're seeing the rise of Germany. We're seeing Germany becoming militarily independent more and more. We're seeing Turkey making this same pursuit towards being independent as far as its military industry goes. The fact that it's developing its own aircraft fighter, that it wants that it plans to complete testing for this aircraft fighter by the year 2027. The fact that Japan is pursuing uh, becoming a major military power in Asia. It already is a major military power, a major economic power for the most part, but it's pursuing to become a major military power, and it is vying with China over power over Asia. So it's very, very, it's crazy to see the route that the world is going through. Anyway, you guys just heard some Theo Laundry. God bless.